Hey everyone, welcome to your Moon in Pisces reading. This reading is going to be for November 30th to December 2nd. But you guys know the deal. Ultimately, the information that comes through is timeless and signless. So you don't have to actually be watching this video at any specific time. And you don't have to have any specific placements within your natal chart. As long as it's before you, using your discernment, what is for you will reach you and will have the impact that is in your highest health and well-being. I love how I keep throwing two cards out. Let's see. Lots and lots of energy going on right now. So this moon in Pisces is coming at quite an interesting time. I'm really looking forward to seeing what information the guides bring forth. Let's go ahead. I've already pretty much set intentions and called in guides and whatnot, but let's just to put a little bit extra on it. Let's all take a moment right now and make it our dominant intention to connect with the information that is in the highest interests for each one of us. Okay? And when I say the highest interest, I mean that is most in alignment, yay, wish fulfillment, most in alignment with our health and well-being. We ask that our guides oversee everything that comes through here and help, and that they facilitate the discernment process as well as the reception of the information. Thank you so much. Anything else? Yeah. Going for accuracy here. Okay, wow, okay. I went to fix and they're like, psh. Of course you didn't see that, but I felt it. They're like, no, don't touch it. And the meaning behind that is because right now we may be feeling, whatever it is that you're going through right now, whether it feels good or whether it feels icky or whether it feels womp womp or just whatever you would describe your energies as being at this moment, the guides want us to remember that we are actually on the right path. We're on the path that is best designed for us. They're saying that right now, this is because I'm hearing, they're so funny. It's kind of like the trap has been set is what I'm hearing. And it's interesting that they're using the word trap because that word, that energy kind of came up during one of the daily readings that came through earlier, but there is actually a character count. Oh, look at what they're saying, that double meaning. Character count. Right now what counts most is your character, but let me put that aside for a second. There's a character count on the number of characters. There's a character limit on what can be written in the Instagram dailies, and so I always have to shave down whatever it is that's being written, so I can't put everything in, but that did come through. But what I do want to let you know is the guides are saying what counts most right now is your character. And in a sense, it's like, it's good to hear that because you can breathe a sigh of relief. I can't translate the words that they're saying. You can breathe a sigh of relief, but you can also breathe in and out, and there's a sense of relief with hearing that, because sometimes when hits the fan, things are hitting the fan, and we put meaning to it. We make it mean, things about us that either place us in a period of superiority. I want to say in a position of superiority in our minds, but they're saying a period of superiority. I wanted to say place us in a, wait, okay, let me finish the thought. That can either place us in a period of superiority or a period of inferiority, but I wanted to say position of, and they're saying period, because we're up 1 minute and we're down the next minute. And it's important to remember that we move up and down. It's just the way things go. And what counts in the middle is, of course, your self-love and your ability to have character. So what is your character? Always remember, at the end of your life, when there's that life review, no one's going to care how much money you made or who did that or what. They're just going to care, like, were you kind? Were you loving? What was your character like in the face of whatever was happening? And that doesn't only go to how you were being, how you were choosing to be to other people, but how you were choosing to be to yourself. And so when they say the trap is set, and don't touch it, Jonelle, it means that right now, when you look around at what you're experiencing, what you're feeling and all of that, know that that is specifically designed for you at this time, so that you can play out some of your karma, so that you can these cards want to come in, God bless them, so that you can focus in on your healing, so that you can better understand where your shadows are, and so that you can trap those shadowy energies that you the shadows that you walk with all the time that you may not be aware of. And once you become aware of these things, then you can go ahead and start to rebuild. And look at this person here in the Firm Foundation card. Can you guys see actually? Okay. Look at this person in the Firm Foundation card. It's like, you see how monolithic this huge mountain is in front of him? It's like when he can't see forward, right? When you're in that conflict, inner and outer conflict, what do you do when you meet something that feels insurmountable, when you're up against the odds, whatever you want to say, between a rock and a hard place? What do you do? What's your character? Do you cave in? Do you call upon spirit? Do you keep your head? I mean, do you fall apart? Where are we at? Do you treat others kindly? And again, that goes for when you're feeling up as well. When you're feeling up, how do you treat people? Do you dismiss them? Do you act like they suck? I mean, when you're feeling low, do you dismiss yourself? Do you act as though you suck, and that other people are just better than you? So we're being asked to look at what's happening in our lives and to look at our reactions to it. And hopefully we don't react, but we respond. Sometimes it's a little bit difficult when we have so much going on in our life, when there's tension, and some of you may actually be encountering or experiencing physical pain as well, because maybe you just have physical stuff going on in your body, or maybe you're having downloads go through and creating physical aches. Whatever it is, it's these things exacerbate stuff. But the overall energies right now is to have success and growth. Spirit is saying that sometimes the best thing you can do amidst all the pain is to remember that there is a reason for everything. There's a reason for every season, they say. And right now, the way things are designed to prosper you. Okay? Views of the ego. What was I saying? Spirit is telling us that the trap is set. It's all for us to discover parts of ourselves. But remember, parts of ourselves are not, the parts of ourselves that are shadowy things are not only going to be shown when you're feeling down. It could be things as simple as when you're flying high, or you have the perception of flying high. How do you treat others? Right? And right underneath here, we see the star flying high. What do you do? It's kind of giving me vibes like when you're when we're watching TV and we see these marathon, is it a marathon? Yeah, these sprints and all of these in track and field, and then it's like this one person is poised to finish in first place or to place, and they see somebody go down in another track, and so like, that's their moment, spiritually speaking. Oh man, I saw it. God saw me saw it. I saw God see me see it. So do I stop the race and no longer place in first, second, or third place and help this hobbling person? Or do I just keep going and be like, boo, boom, yeah, what do I do? And so this is kind of this energy. I don't remember which... I feel like this was during one of the, it was definitely during a story that I did for one of the, what do we call it? Daily messages. Because if you guys know, and if you follow me on Instagram, you know that we post, we meaning me and my team, my spirit team. I act like I have all these physical beings working with me, but we post a daily message every day. We try to post every day. And, usually I put I take that message and I put it into my stories, and I actually attach a channeled song to go with it. And sometimes I'm able to put in additional messages into the story that were not able to make it into the actual post because of the character count. And one of those stories that I did, I think it was last week, that had additional information that was not contained in the post, was this concept of tests. So the guides, it was probably around the 21st, 22nd, that type of time. The guides were, oh yeah, check it out, check that out, number 21 right there, you see? So unfortunately, the story is long gone, so we can't check it anymore. But the guides are reminding us, and in this video as well, test, 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 test. And the guides actually told me, because I've been going through some stress, understatement, one of which is, just coming out of medical leave with all the stuff I had to go through. But the guides were just telling me about one of the tests that I passed. And I was like, what? I was like, stop it. And you know what? I would never have thought about it that way, because my tests would be different from your tests, you the viewer. And amongst you guys have different tests. So one of the tests that I had been going through recently that I had no idea, and they're so kind to even mention it, because I was like, thank you, I could use a little, cheering here. They were like, you stood up for yourself. And I was like, oh my God, you're right. Because I never do my 40 placements in Libra. It's interesting. Every time I mention my placements in Libra, ultra polite, ultra diplomatic, full of etiquette sign, I always, the number gets higher. I think I only have 5 placements, but that's enough. That is enough, right? Mars retrograde, by the way, in the sign of Libra. So we're trying out here to get this Aries energy going. But, we meaning because they're doing okay with where they are. But so the guides are like, you did a great job. And it's like, what? You guys, that's not what I'm seeing from where I am. And so the important thing to remember is that while we're here incarnated here, down here, we're not going to be able, with the unaided eye, there are just some things that we're just not going to see that we're being tested on. And sometimes I'm just minding my business, they'll be like, that was a test. I'm like, oh, what? And it's always something you would never know. So this goes back to what I try to tell you guys, and I've said a few times actually. This same concept of you never know kind of also extends to when we have choice points. We have choice points. Yes, we live in a universe of many universes where in this one, free will is one of the laws of the universe that we're in. And the thing about that, though, is that many people will be like, well, what is free will then? How does that relate to fate and destiny? And the way I see it, that has come through my practice, is that it's kind of like a choose your own adventure book. Remember those books? CYOA, shout out. You know what? The book's already written. There are many destinies, many options, many potentials. And the truth is that based on, things like your mood, what you're feeling in the moment, what information you got and how well you processed it, and whether I would just go ahead and add here, because this is the upgrade point, whether you added love into what it is that you received, everything you receive, even from your favorite readers, like me, hi, and things that you see in the news and in the media and your friends tell you and this and that, they're talking to you from their perspective, but it's your job to add the basics, like, is this loving? Is the thought that I'm having a loving thought? And that can be hard because we have to balance self-love, right? And with love for others, and depending on the life that we live, we may feel like, wow, this is an act of self-love, or wow, this is an act of love for others. But sometimes we have to really just do a little bit of due diligence to see where the balance actually is, right? So adding the upgrade point is adding loving kindness to what it is that we're making decisions about. But at the end of the day, we don't know sometimes what an actual choice point is. Sometimes we're right, like, oh my God, that was a point where I had a choice. And I made a choice. Great. And then there are times where we just don't know. We think that was a choice point, but it actually wasn't. That was a point that was destined to play out the way it did. For the health and well-being of all people, right? And that could have been a feel-goody thing or a not feel-goody thing. And at the same token, sometimes we think there was no choice and that it was a destiny point, or well, it was out of my hands, or laissez-faire, or whatever you want to say, but it was actually a choice point. And so the thing about that is, how do you know the difference, Jay? Well, the difference is something that you have to learn to arrive at through discrimination, through discernment, through prayer, through healing of the self, because it's ultimately your perceptions that make you think that something seems logical, that something seems right, something feels right, something right. You don't know what's right and wrong if you're running on unloving core beliefs, right? And we don't know what the core beliefs are if we're not doing our inner work. So anyway, but the reason why I bring this up as another example of, hey, you don't know, is because sometimes we carry guilt and shame with us. And you probably heard the saying that guilt is a useless emotion and shame, understandably, is a useless emotion. These things are natural that they come up here as we're incarnated. But from a higher perspective, they very much are useless. Because, for example, here, you may be feeling guilty about something that wasn't even in your soul contract to begin with. Guilty. Right? I recently had to make a decision for my health and well-being, and I was feeling very guilty about it. Oops, sorry, I keep hitting this. I was feeling sorry guys about the mic issues, trying my best. I'm feeling very guilty about a decision that I had to make in my health and whatnot. And then I was feeling guilty, but the guides were like, Jay, you didn't even have a soul contract for this. So what are you feeling guilty about? And I was like, oh my God, I didn't, I guess, oh my bad. And suddenly it was gone. And that's a miracle, a change in perception. And that just goes to show you that a lot of times we're feeling a certain type of way about things because we're seeing things a certain way. And the guides are asking us at this time to really do our best to remove ourselves from things that we feel, just remove ourselves from these shadowy aspects of ourselves. But again, the upgrade point is always to go a little bit further and really bring spirit in and ask, am I being, bringing spirit in, there they are talking, am I being, 22, right? Balanced. Am I being balanced about this? Hey God, this is what I'm thinking about doing. Because see, here's the ego card, and then here's the boom, that energy coming in, a lot of energy hitting, and then we on one side of this with the 21, not 22, but 21 on our side of things, we have an idea about what action needs to be taken. But if we're not careful and it's not balanced, we can kind of push ourselves into, taking actions that are not in the highest interest. But we may not know that until years later, for example, when things play out, or we may not know it until we start to see how things played out, and we realize that, maybe that could have used a little bit more reflection, a little bit more patience and planning, right? But by then it's too late because we've already taken these actions and put things in motion. And this is life. Life is here for the molding. This is what we're here to do, and we have to trust that we have sacred contracts with each other. And at the end of the day, one of the major sacred contracts that we have on this planet with each other is to try. I'm going to try and do this with you here when I get down there at this age. I might screw it up, or you might screw it up, but hopefully we'll just do our best. And then we're like, okay, we'll do our best. And that kind of works for everybody. If we have that idea that, hey, we're all just doing our best, let's come down here. Sands of time. I love that. Now, but at the same time, I don't know why I said but at the same time, because there's nothing else to add. That's it. That's all. That's where we're at. So right now, under this moon in Pisces, now look how he's rolling his sleeves up. Under this moon in Pisces, whenever we have a moon, boom. Whenever we have Pisces, boom. We already know we just need to close our eyes, because we're probably better off seeing in that state. And this is no shade to people with Piscean placements. We all have it, okay? It's just we know that it's not the time to really sign contracts, to really make boom kind of movements. We want to really sit and reflect. We want to feel. We want to move into the body in a more grounded way. So maybe during this time, really try to pull in some more Virgoan energies. Maybe putting one step in front of the other. Actually, look at this, because I have card decks off to the side that, in case I need some overflow, and look at both of them. Groundedness, putting one foot in front of the other, moving on, moving forward. There will be time again there will be time when things become more clear and we understand. Guys, I cannot make this up, but look at the next card. Heart chakra, love abounds. When things become more clear, and then we start to realize, was my heart in the right place? Was I right? Was there success here? Did I see clearly? Was my seeing and were my actions reflective of clear sight, clear heart, clear motion, right? Execution. And right now, if you've been following my channel, you'll notice that the guides have been talking about the increase in light. A few months ago, and if what you do brings in more light, yes, right? Beautiful. Whoopsies. A few months ago, maybe about 2 months ago, the guides had said, in December, a lot of light is going to be hitting the planet, and it's going to be a lot for a lot of people. And even more so in January. And the idea is the light, when it's the brightest, the shadows are the longest, right? So actions come in and bring the light behind them, right? So a lot of us have been taking actions that may have been painful, but may have ushered in a lot of light. We see that here with karma. It doesn't necessarily have to be karma in the sense of debts, but karma could be like agreements to do certain things, right? And that's not an easy road to take as well. But either way, Spirit is saying that this is a really good time for us all to get as grounded as we can, to focus on what is coming up for us. And as we see what comes up with that for us, really try to put ourselves into a place where we can exercise self-love and love for others. Because I'm telling you, now here we are also in the time of holidays. Holidays may not be so tough for you, but there are a lot of people who struggle around the holidays. I have a friend of mine who's actually in her mid-60s. God bless, she's great. And she lost her mother decades ago. In October, like her mother fell ill in October, and then the hospitalizations began and eventually passed away, I think 2 days before Christmas. So you have to understand that for some people, just the whole last quarter of the year can be very painful. A lot of others have lost family members, parents. They probably had other traumas in their life. They may find themselves in this time of year alone. They may have people leave them. They may all sorts of things. There may be people who are ill. So financial issues, and so we have to remember that yes, we have to do what's best for us. But guys, we're not living on islands. We're no man is an island in and of itself. We are cute little islands, but we're all kind of bunched together to the point that we're actually not alone. And so you are responsible for the energetic footprint you leave on other people's lives. And that is to be interpreted in a higher sense, not in the sense where it's like, yeah, but I have to think about me, and if I think about these people, they'll drag me down, and sometimes you have to speak yourself, and sometimes you have to create boundaries. This is not saying that you can't create boundaries, that you can't close doors, that you can't tell people your truth, this is not the world isn't black and white in that way. This is not about either or. This is about understanding that you have your own feelings. You have your own perceptions. Your perceptions are informed by yourself, right? And the shadows that you carry, as well as the light that you carry, and the core beliefs that are still unhealed. And so we are always projecting out onto the world. And so if we're projecting out onto the world only our stuff, we're only going to see our stuff. So as A Course in Miracles teaches us, we're not ever actually seeing what is true. We're not actually ever having true thoughts or actually ever having true feelings. What we are experiencing but misinterpreting as true is merely the effects of our distortions, literally the effects of our misperceptions. And in a sense, if you're here on earth, that's what you're doing. You're experiencing these effects. Guess who else did? Buddha. And when Buddha finally awoken to that reality and realized that all this stuff that was, he was seeing in his world that felt real, the punches, the illness, the betrayals, all of this, those were him. Those were his stuff that he was seeing, Energetically, those are things that are pulled in. Once you start to own that these are your own stuff, you can, quote unquote, escape the world one day. You can leave the karmic cycle, because then there will be no more projections. This is all it is. We're just playing mirrors for each other. Now, that being said, because of that teaching that A Course in Miracles has, A Course in Miracles also teaches us that everyone is innocent. People are ultimately innocent. Just think about it as you dreaming up your own world of insanity, as they would call it, and believing that these things belong to other people. And energetically in this, you're such a great manifester, we all are, we're going to pull in people that are going to reflect back to us these things. But because once we finally learn these things and we've healed these things about ourselves and we recognize them, of course a lot of these contracts will fall away. But remember that the difference between when you leave a contract, it doesn't have to be a storming out. It doesn't have to be the slap in the face. It doesn't even have to be silent. It's balance. It's speaking your piece. It's doing your thing. And if you do have to leave in the still of the night, it has to be balanced in a way. And maybe that balance comes in internally or whatnot. And it's going to be different from for each person. For somebody who may have had multiple lifetimes where they were small and where they were tossed to and fro. A lot of you do, when I read for clients, I can have two clients with similar issues, but it needs to play out differently because they, their healing requires it. For somebody like who's always been dumped on in other lifetimes and this and that, maybe it calls for them in this lifetime to speak up and be clear and do it in a way that's balanced and loving as much as you can. And whereas for somebody else who maybe that's just their MO, they do it a certain way, maybe they're called to be more tempered in how they do it because they need to bring more love in a different way. Either way, regardless of where you're coming from, love is the underlying thing. And that is something that's hard for a lot of us to do, because sometimes we're stuck in, well, what about the love for me? Or we're stuck in the opposite, I don't deserve this love. And we sometimes don't realize it. So look at the sands of time here at the hourglass. There's a balancing that's happening. And this is the best time to do it, because guess what's coming in? All this light. It's already hitting us. And it's interesting because we just went through 2 eclipses and all these crazy full moons, lots of energy going on. Mars is just doing whatever it wants to do right now. There's a whole lot of stuff coming in. And the Justice card, always one to be at the ready, is hanging around too. The Justice card, think about it though in the sense that the Justice card is helping. It's lending its sword. So think about the light that's hitting the earth right now. It's illuminating the shadows in your life. So when you see yourself, when you see your own stuff being illuminated, and you will see it, you'll feel it, you can call upon the Justice energies, the Ace of Swords, your higher selves, all of that to help you to really clear and process that. And by the same token, if you're seeing a lot of fault in others around you, that's a sign that maybe there are things that you're not willing to own at this time as yet, and it's so disowned by you that you're seeing it in other people. So you want to make sure that you're paying attention to anything that comes before your eyes, and just do your best. Do your best. And I guess we'll see how things balance out after the season, because that's just how things go. But either way, I would like to say, I would try to feel in, I'm like, is everybody here? Everyone? I'd like to say that we're on our individual paths and we're on our collective paths. This is a time to really hunker down. I need a card right here. I don't know what it is, but we'll see. We need to hunker down and really do the best that we can. It's also not a time to really act out, because there's so much cosmically speaking, there's so much aggression in the air, and you really want to do your best. There it is. Thank you. You really want to do your best to be as even keeled as possible. I'm seeing this moving on card here. So it's like moving on, but it's almost like wanting to move backward, but then move forward. So yeah, backward in the sense, now what that backward movement is could be different for a lot of you. It could be about second guessing yourself. It could be needing to go back and be more patient. It could be whatever. It could be really just depends on you. But either way, I'm reading at the same time. As the energies come in, the best thing that you can do is to, I guess, put a pause on, see the grieving card right there? Yeah, try to do your best to put a pause on the grieving or the cause of your grieving, the source of your grieving, and to try and allow the universe to step in, give you insight, push things away that doesn't need to be there. Bring your legs, I'm feeling them. Take your legs and bring your legs into the right time and place. So as I'm seeing the right time and place, I'm seeing this movement here. So I'm also seeing that there are some things that you're being asked to release at this time. Everybody, hello. We all know that. But as you release these things, Spirit takes your legs and they're like boom, boom, boom. They're reshifting you to the correct timeline that is for you. Notice the mirroring here when we see, okay, thank you. We see how we have this Roman arches here. Here's a Roman arch. Spirit is actually, it's like I'm getting this xylophone, cute, and musical, kind of like musical chairs as well. This is the time where Spirit is locking a lot of us in. Oh, didn't they say setting the trap? Thank you. Setting the trap. They're locking us in to, let's think of it as a capsule. And this capsule moves us to and from the lessons. So a cute little way of looking at that would be seeing yourself on the back of a hummingbird. If you need a more gentle image of that, seeing yourself on the back of a hummingbird, and a hummingbird representing Spirit, moving you to flower for you to really, and speaking of moving you to flower, look at this. Fulfillment of wishes. This is the same as this, wish fulfillment, moving you to timeline, issue in the past, issue in the current, here, we want you to go to this car dealership so you can have an experience with this dealer that brings up your father issues. Then we're done there, and then we want you to come here, have something at the post office so you can experience some latent energies that you have towards your mother that you'd forgotten about. We want to bring you here so that you can sit in this quiet corner while you're waiting for your kindergartner, so that you can sit and somehow remember a pre-verbal time. So that's what I mean. They're moving you and they're asking you to listen, and the whole point of that is to confront the inner child. Confront is a hard word, but meaning look at the inner child, what's coming up, because the inner child is, for a lot of us, is really, really, look, see, boop, in the shadows. It's really struggling to be heard, right? So Spirit is saying this is about a time. This is a time where we're being asked to look at the needs of the inner child and understand that when we do that, we're actually looking at the needs of the self, because the inner child is actually the self. That's what it is. And a big thing that the guides have been having me create right now, I'm literally in the middle of creating it, and we've mentioned it already, is the Soul Insight series, where we're going to be talking a lot about soul integration, presenting a lot of information, helping to integrate the inner child. Very, very important. And so, see, that's why the guides have been talking a lot right now about gentle energy and compassion and kindness and all of that, because the inner child needs that kind of approach. When you start getting into your wounds, your deep wounds and your trauma, things that you're suffering in silence about, it's not about a hard approach, it's about a gentle one, because these parts of you will literally go hiding. So when I do work with clients, shout out, right? When I do work with clients and we're talking about certain aspects of them and the different ages that they are and what the aspects are saying, sometimes when we start talking about one, it'll like run and hide. Like you see the energy move to another part of the body altogether. Some will take on a different form, some will attack, some will. So you have to understand that when we're dealing with these aspects of ourselves, they have consciousness, they have personality, they have knowledge that they're aware of and that they're not aware of, they have fears, they've got all of this stuff. And so none of these aspects that we carry are very much open to harsh energies because they need to feel safe. Remember, there was a reason why they split off in the first place. They didn't feel safe, they didn't feel seen, some of them didn't feel respected, some of them are past lifetime aspects altogether, and some of them are hard as nails. And in such cases, they require a different approach as well. Right? And so this is a time when we have to start looking inward, and we have to remember one size doesn't fit all. But what we do need to do is take a balanced approach and one that is kind of like inviting to these parts of us. And what happens is when we get these parts involved in their healing process, when they feel safe enough, look at this, success and growth. What we engage in, clearing the way, what we engage in is the process of soul integration. And that's a beautiful thing, because sometimes mid-session, we've got the most stubborn aspect of the client, and all three of us are talking, me, the client, the aspect, and the client. What that experience is that the client will be like, oh yeah, I guess I do feel that. Yeah, that is me. Okay, I relate to that part of me. Yeah, okay, I relate to that part of me. And what's happening is that there's now a conscious awareness of a part that was not so conscious, but this part of them was definitely running the ship for a minute there. And once we bridge that gap and there's acceptance and we understand and we see and we trace it back to maybe why this splitting off occurred, then there is the breakthrough, there's the healing, there's the mending. And a lot of times that aspect, however old they are, they're now ready, and they'll let you know. They're like, okay, I'm ready. And you can see the stepping in, because then the guides will start to do the alchemical, the suturing, the alchemical part, the etheric surgery part, and really help to build that energetic folding in. So long story short, we have the moon in Pisces here. There's a lot going on. Spirit is asking us to really be mindful of ourselves in many ways, but also to give some good balance. I feel like for another 10 days, sorry. No! Yes, okay, sure. They're saying for another 10 days, yay. To really bide our time, do our best, but things are going to be coming up. Just continue to work with them. It's not always going to be hard. It's not always going to be strict. It's not going to be always going to be stringent. And a lot of you may actually be feeling one way, like I'm feeling like this, and that could be because of the aggression in the air with the whole Mars energy and whatnot. But you may be feeling a certain type of way, and just know that when you go to sleep, and you, especially if you call in your assistants, when you go to sleep, there's a lot of assistance for you to help you get clear, to help you clear out these energies, to help you recalibrate, so that the next day when you step back onto the scene, you can put a better foot forward, right? But it is what it is, and let's just keep going. We're here to support each other. This isn't our first rodeo. And if you're tuning into my work, that we know each other on some level energetically. Hi again. Even if you're new to me in this lifetime, or even if you follow me but you've never had a reading with me or whatnot, just know that our souls know each other already. We all know each other. People in our lives, we know each other. And this isn't our first rodeo together. Now, this may be the first time in conscious awareness that we're going through all of these things. And so we need to hold space for that to be the case. Hold space for, the case for miracles to happen. Yes, we've seen a lot of movies that tell us, oh, you're having this experience, well, this is what you'll expect. You'll never see them again, or you'll see them again, but we don't actually know, because it's kind of our first time really moving through it for ourselves in this lifetime. And so the best thing that we can do, as the guides always say, is to remain ideologically flexible, because what is true today may not be true tomorrow. What you feel today may not be what you feel tomorrow. They also want us to bring more love, more kindness for self in. As we do that, we bring kindness for others and love for others as well. It's the golden rule: do unto others as you would have them do unto you. Also remember that to ask for help. As I said that, Archangel Gabriel rolling in, coming to give assistance. A lot of us are moving through time right now, yeah, and it's producing. Now they're talking about the physical. A lot of us are going through some physical stuff. Some of you may actually have had accidents recently. You may have been waking up with headaches. You may be having, a lot of people having sinus things, backaches. For somebody, I'm getting issues with your nails, like nail aches. Is that it? Maybe you have things going on with your nails, the nail beds, or just, please remember, these are, a lot of these things are coming about as you transition from one space to the next, right? There's a lot of transitioning that is happening at an energetic level, at an alchemical level. We talked about that a little bit earlier, as the guide said that they're holding your feet and they're moving you to and fro. For some of you, this is happening very quickly. So my hats are going off to you as you move quickly. It's not easy. It's not easy. Trust me, I know. But please know that again, it's going to even out again later. You're going to feel better again later. Everything that's happening here is leading to your wish fulfillment. It just may not feel like that in the moment. Okay. What else? Okay. Yeah, lots of. Look at this. Yeah. Yeah. Intuition. So we have the throat chakra predicated upon your clarity of belief, which is predicated upon your intuition. Right underneath, what do we have? Your darkest fears. Wow, right underneath that, we've got the third eye chakra, right? So you see, we have to be very careful right now. You know, we're doing our best here, but and underneath we've got lead. We've got lead. Now, so A Course in Miracles, again, teaches us that our core beliefs are what everything is predicated upon. So if you have a core belief that is not love-based, meaning it's distorted, right? Oh, I'm not good enough. No one ever listens to me. I don't, or I'm not worthy. Just whatever it is, everybody's got their own. There are many that we all carry. That's going to skew the way that you see the world, the way you see yourself. It's going to in turn skew the desires that you want, the things that you make your life mission, the things you want to accomplish in life. It's going to skew the kinds of thoughts you think. So things that seem logical to you will, just, right? You'll think it's logical. You'll have those thoughts. It'll skew the way you feel. So emotions will be kind of skewed. You'll think, oh, this feels right, but it's actually not right. Right? So then it also skews your gut reactions. You'll have gut reactions. You'll have knee-jerk reactions. And then it'll eventually, if you're not conscious and you don't reach out for something higher and really have your trust in the right place and aligning with spirit in a sense of mastery, right? It can lead to actions in the physical that are not very, not of the highest, right? So we're just doing our best. We see here, look, double, we've got the lead, we've got authority, observe, throat chakra, and of course, the B word, balance. I guess time will always tell. Time will always tell when we've moved from a place of balance and when we haven't. And sometimes it's difficult to see for all the reasons I just said, but also because we also have soul contracts that sometimes, again, with destiny, we're just asked to do a certain thing or be a certain thing. And that's just how it goes. These things can lead to emotional loss. We see it doubling here. Wow. Emotional loss, heartache and loss, right? And we're just going to have to do our best. At the end of the day, if you want to ensure the best outcome for yourself and really be of service to others in the highest way, the best thing to do is to start with self-love. Start with having compassion for how you're feeling. What am I feeling? What's going on? What are my thoughts? Where are these thoughts coming from? Is it really the way I'm seeing it? Is it really the way I'm hearing it? Right? So, and always call upon, our Archangel Michael, Archangel Gabriel, Archangel Raphael, the whole works. They're all here for us. All right? Anyway, so I will go ahead and put a pretty little pause here, but I will also remind you that now is a time for rest, so make sure that you're resting to the best of your ability, okay? And thank you, God, thank you, angels, thank you, guides. And until then, if you'd like to have a personal reading with me or an energy shifting session with me, you know exactly where to find me. And until then, God bless, and bye.